Let's do a thought experiment. Imagine me as a father, someone who is responsible for the spiritual, moral, and overall guidance and security of my family. How does that look in the grand scheme of things? How does it look from the outside? What are the things that I'm supposed to do? What are the things that I should not compromise on as a father with children and a wife? I believe that I should not compromise on the spiritual, the moral, the security. And I should always preface this with my children and my wife. And then I should also know this as a core element of myself is that we don't compromise on our integrity, nor do we compromise on our name. Because we're all given a name. And I believe that it's our duty as fathers to make sure that our name holds true to its form. Meaning those names should hold weight. When our names are uttered in the public, our names should garner respect. So when we are teaching our children, when we're imparting that wisdom into our children, they should also have that greater understanding of who they are, where the name came from, what the family has done to be able to obtain the lifestyle that they currently have. Now, this is not relegated to just people who have made it, quote unquote. But this is relegated to anybody. Even a poor man should have the same standards for his family, wanting the best for them, wanting them to be morally correct, wanting them to have a strong spiritual understanding of the world, and also protecting the namesake. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky in this day and age. A lot of men, and I'm going to put this on men, because a lot of men, because they're so desperate for the attention of females, a lot of men compromise themselves to the point where they're not respected by their woman, nor are they respected by their children. And in the greater scheme of the public, they are also a laughingstock. And the reason why I would say that they are a laughingstock is because look at their children and the manner in which they present themselves to the public. Your kid is rude. Your kid does not know his or her place. You're force raping your child to be an adult. So your kid believes that other adults are accepting of this behavior, when the reality of it is that a child has a place, and the child's place is not in the environment of adult conversation or adult business. I'm not saying that kids cannot hang around and observe the interaction between women and women, men and women, because this is how we learn. We're social creatures, so we pick up on these things. But what I'm trying to bring an awareness to is that your kids should not interrupt. And you should be the first one to inform your kid that they're being out of line when they interrupt or interject into conversations or act in a way that is inappropriate. Because what that does is that reflects on you as a parent. And it also reflects heavily on you as a man. If you are allowing your children to dictate the terms of engagement. I know a lot of this is new age thinking where we're going to let our kids have a voice, so on and so forth. I have no problem with allowing my kids to have a voice, have a say. But at the end of the day, it's a time and a place for everything. Kids should have social decorum. Husbands should always make sure that these social decorums are adhered to. Stop allowing the fear that many of you have for the mother, because a lot of times mothers overanalyze circumstances, or they overanalyze their children and not realizing that your child is not going to be a child forever. Your child is eventually going to grow up one day and become an adult. And based upon how you're managing your child as a young, impressionable individual, he or she will go out into the world. And that person will probably end up wreaking havoc on the world because you've never taught them structure. You've taught them to be selfish, self-centered, and narcissistic. And that's a direct reflection upon you as a parent. And this is why I say your job also requires you to help to keep the neurotic mindset of a woman in check, because you are supposed to be the more calm, more logical one when it comes to situation. Not every situation that your child is going to experience is life-threatening. A lot of the things that many of us or many parents try to save their children from are things that are actually beneficial for their long-term survival. Just as simple as fair play, understanding what is fair play, understanding that just because you ask for something that does not mean that you're going to get it. Many of you send your kids off to schools, public schools, and what? Your kid is rude, unruly. Your kid has so many different needs and wants. And the crazy thing about it is that you now expect, because you cater to your child on that level, that someone else is going to pick up that same mantle and do the very same thing. I believe that is a disservice to your child, and also a disservice to the person who is now tasked with educating your child. But yet you've never taught your child how to sit down, how to be attentive, how to focus on the task at hand, and also how to give respect to whoever is in front of them. Because your kid has no respect for you. Because more times than not, your child sees you as a parent as their friend. Men, there's no need for you to jump on that bandwagon of wanting to be your children's friend. And I know many of you sit back and you relax because, as far as you're concerned, the wife has it. She's going to take care of it. You can't do that. That's called a dereliction of duty in my personal view. You can agree or disagree. Let me know in the comments. But the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying is because if your woman is neurotic and she doesn't want anyone to assist her in the raising of her child, taking advice from mom, aunts, some well-meaning people, even teachers, you are creating a problem, because your kid is going to go out into the world, into the schools, and your kids are going to be a problem for other people. And then your kids are going to be a bad representative for you, as well as they're going to also be a distraction for other kids whose parents have actually put in the work to make sure that their kids are not going out into the public, into the school system, and wreaking havoc. So me as a parent, what I do? What should I do? How should I raise my kids? What are the things that I should tell my kids on a daily, so that when my kid goes out into the world, how are they going to represent my namesake? We have to stop this whole idea of believing that this new age approach to raising children, where your kid is the authority in the house. Children have no place of being an authority figure in the house. That is a misrepresentative or mischaracter of parenting, in my personal opinion, because your kid doesn't pay any bills. Your kid does not know what it means to pay a mortgage. Your kid does not know what it means to go to a job that they don't like, other than going to school and educating, allowing themselves to absorb what is being taught to them. And your job as a parent is to find out what they're being taught as well, so that if some things are misplaced, you can correct them. Your job is a guider. You're responsible for guiding your kids. You're not only responsible for guiding your kids, you personally are responsible for how the future looks because of your product that you're putting into the marketplace. So this is a message for men to stand up, be accountable to your children, because that's your name attached to that child. That's your blood attached to that child. Your biblical responsibility is to guide and raise that child up to be great. Now, once you've done the work and you put in the work, and you know that you've put in the work, and you're not lying to yourself about what you've done, and your child gets off of age and is no longer your responsibility, and they decide that they're going to do things out of what you've taught them, then that's on them. That's no longer on you. That's no longer on you. So there's no reason to walk around with that mental burden of you failed, or you feeling like you failed as a parent. No, you did your best as a parent. You did everything that you needed to do as a parent. Your child just chose the wrong path. Men, do not allow your women, your wives, to run roughshod over the raising of your children. Because the same bad habits that your wife has, 9 times out of 10, she's going to pass that on to your child. And because your child sees the wife or the girlfriend as a safety net, because she believes in her mind's eye that her child is the most precious gift from God, that as if though she's the only one with a child, she's going to make concessions for that child. But you, as a man, you have to stand on a higher principle of understanding what these things are going to do if you continue to run interference for the behavior of your child, especially when your only concern is paying the bills and saying, well, I paid the bill, I paid the school fee, I made sure he had food on the table. Yeah, but that's not all. If you look at the public school system, even the private school system, it's filled with kids who have that, who parents are just providing the bare necessities. But their attitudes and their behaviors are the worst things imaginable. This is just something that was ruminating in my head. And if this resonates with you, consider subscribing to the channel. I'd like this channel to grow. This is a place where I come and I express my day-to-day thoughts. And a lot of times I'm ranting, but I also try my best to make sure that whatever I'm saying can be helpful to you as a man. I want you to stay away from the programming that so many of us have become accustomed to, because the programming is a thing that's really fucking us up as a society. We're accepting things that we should not accept, and we're going along with this programming, and we're taking the same programming and we're imparting this onto our children. And I believe that because we're just lackadaisy, we are doing a disservice, as I said, to our children, to the cohesiveness of our future and even our homes. And your kids will resent you for just allowing them to run roughshod. You have to balance. Parenting is a balance, man. It's a fine line between breaking their spirit and making sure that there's a balance of accountability, because kids need to know that there's accountability in life. You can't wait till they get in trouble to find out now that they got to go to prison or some weird shit like that, or worse, the graveyard. Or you're not talking to them because you don't like the way they behave, you know. But anyway, if you like this content, consider subscribing, help me grow the channel. And remember, always stay gorilla-minded in everything you do. Watch out for the adverts, watch out for the propaganda, so on and so forth. Watch your mind. Peace.